Hello, I'm Bimo.
I'm Dita.
And I am Selviana.
Together, we are here to guide you through the maze of human coding.
Coding might seem like a labyrinth at first, but our goal is to turn it into a scenic road you will enjoy navigating.
Our aim is to unveil the elegance and efficiency of movement coding in a way that resonates with everyone, regardless of their coding background.
Get ready for an adventure when we unravel the mysteries behind data compression using movement code.
By the end of our discussion, you will not only understand Huffman coding, but appreciate its importance in modern data handling.
So, sit back, relax, and join us on this journey as we unveil the magic behind movement coding. Let's embark on this enlightening exploration together.
In 1951, David Huffman and his classmate at MIT had a choice: write a paper or take a final exam. Their professor, Robert M. Fano, gave them a challenge: find the best way to create efficient binary code. Huffman initially struggled to prove which code was the best, but then had a sudden idea. He thought about using a sorted binary tree based on how often each symbol appeared in the data. He quickly showed his professor that this method was the most efficient. The basic idea behind Huffman coding is simple. When some characters or symbols appear a lot in data, we give them shortcuts. When symbols are rare, they get longer codes. This way, the common symbols get short and efficient codes, and making the data smaller. Huffman coding is used in many areas. It's helped make files smaller like zip and gzip, compresses text on web page and document, shrink image file like JPEG, reduces the size of audio files such as MP3, speed up data transfer, save space in storage, archive big data sets, and even help fix error in communication system.
Okay, next we move on to the encoding process. Instead of me explaining the steps, let's start with an example to make it more understandable. Let's begin with an easy one. Example 1. Encode the following symbol AABCABC. Here, we will encode the input AABCABC. First, let's calculate the frequency of each character. Symbol A has a frequency 3 from 7, symbol B has a frequency 2 from 7, and also symbol C has a frequency 2 from 7. Next, we plot the symbol with their respective frequencies. We use a binary tree to combine the two symbols with the lowest frequency. In this case, the symbol with the lowest frequencies are B and C. We create a binary tree, and now symbol B and C become BC with a combined frequency of 4. Next, we move BC to the front before symbol A. Why? Because BC has a greater frequency than symbol A. Then we create another binary tree between BC and A, which then becomes BCA with a frequency of 7. If we conclude the binary tree like this, we assign each branch of the tree a binary code, so symbol A has the binary code 0, symbol B 1 0, and symbol C 1 1. The final step is to encode the input using the binary codes that have been determined. So the AABCABC input is encoded as 0 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 and 1 1. Now, let's try a more complex example. We have the input S, C, I, E, and C, E. with the following frequency distribution. Next, we arrange the symbol from left to the right based on their frequencies, with the symbol having the highest frequency on the left and the lowest on the right. Following that, we apply a similar process as in the previous example to combine the two symbols with the lowest frequency. Then we move the combined symbol to the left. It's important to note that the frequency must remain sequential, and we initially use the original symbol data. In this case, IN has a frequency of 2, which is the same as the frequencies of symbol C and E. So we place IN after symbol C and E. We continue with the binary tree construction for the remaining symbol until all symbols are combined. Resulting in a total frequency of 7. If we conclude the binary tree like this, we assign a binary code to each branch, similar to example 1. We then plot the resulting binary codes from each symbol. Symbol S has a frequency 11, C00, I100, E01, and N101. The final step is to encode the input using the binary codes that have been determined. So the SCI, ENCE input is encoded as 11, 00, 100, 01, 101, 00, and 01. Okay, now let's move on to the decoding process. Decoding is the process of converting the output back into the initial data. Let's take a look at how to decode the input S, C, I, E, and C, E. Similar to the previous encoding example, we will examine whether the output produced through the decoding process match the original input from the encoding. Starting from the data provided as input, which includes binary representation and the frequency distribution of each symbol. Our initial task is to identify the binary pairs and associate them with their respective input symbol. We do this by constructing a binary tree and combining the two symbols with the lowest frequencies, just as we did during encoding. This process allows us to determine the binary representation for each symbol. The final step involves searching from the binary codes that correspond to the symbol in the given input. As a result, we can demonstrate that the encoded input SCIE and CE will yield the same result as the output obtained from the decoding process. The input 1100, 100, 01, 101, 00, 01 is encoded to SCIE and CE.
Alright, that's it from us. Thank you for watching and bye bye.